I'm happy you're here. I hope you're doing well today, tonight, whenever you're watching this, listening to this. I wanted to take a little time today to talk to you about feeling like you're behind. I think a common feeling nowadays can often be feeling like you're behind where you should be. Whether it's career or relationship status. And I am such a believer that every path and journey and experience is really valid and valuable and important in every individual's journey. I can give you a couple thoughts I have about this from my own personal life. When I first graduated from college, I had a job that it was a great job. I thought that I was going to do that for my entire career. That feels very naive. I was so sure that I was going to be with that company for my whole career, if not at least many years to come. And I was laid off of my first role. And I remember that being the most devastating news possible. But through that journey, I ended up accepting a role with a startup and moving across the country, something I thought I would never ever do. And then that was such a beautiful and intense and challenging experience that had me grow and learn in so many ways. And I never would have been open to that if I had stayed in my perfectly content little bubble. And then it was a startup, and that didn't pan out. And that felt devastating. I had this really big fear of gosh, I moved across the country. And now this thing that I moved out here to do, that's gone. What do I do now, And I remember being so terrified at that time too. And then I started volunteering, and one thing led to another, and now I ended up with a company that I'm at now through volunteering, and I remember thinking gosh, there were many times where I had these thoughts of did I make a mistake, at any point, was it a mistake to make one of those moves? Because it was so scary when each of those things didn't pan out. And I think, but then they each led to the next. They each led to the next thing that ended up being the best thing for me in that moment. Ended up being the best thing, and I couldn't see it coming, I thought I would try that. I hope that sounded good. All this to say, you just never know what's right around the corner. And when I lost that first job, and when I came out and I moved, I remember thinking gosh, if I had stayed, I would be on a different track. I would be further along by now, X, Y, and Z. And then the next thing came around the corner, and it's I never would have explored this, I never would have been open to this if it hadn't turned out the way it had. So that's in terms of when I think about career. You know, I also think it's like everything you do is a new experience. I thought I would try 2 different cans. Do they sound different at all to you? Or are they too similar? So I guess that's something that I think about a lot because it's something I hear a lot, this fear of being behind. And I don't think that's true at all. Whatever you're doing, you're gaining such important experience, you know? There's no one exactly like you. There's no one in the world that has the exact same experiences, like the exact set of qualifications that you have. And I think that is so important to remember, you know? The things you have done, that is so unique to you, and that is such a gift in the long run, even though it might not feel like it right now. So I think that's something I wanted to touch on. I don't know, I feel like those might be too loud. Oops, it's trying to connect. So I just want you to think that if you're feeling like you're behind or not where you should be, I think you should think of it instead as you don't know exactly what your path is. You're exactly where you're supposed to be on your journey, on your path, because it's not going to match what anyone else is doing, you know? I got this. I don't know if this is grippy enough. Also, I really got to figure out the lights. I know I think the camera keeps focusing in and out because I haven't quite figured out the light situation, but I'm not sure if this is making sense. I got really excited to record this, but it is pretty late. It's 2 a.m. But I don't want to be too scripted, and I think I'll talk about some of the same things again in other videos, but I want to keep this like very casual and continue to talk and hopefully eventually get to a place where we're having a dialogue and it is, you know, we can interact and I hope I can hear from folks, and if this is helpful, if these conversations resonate at all, I just think it can be really, really validating to hear other people's experiences. You know, I also wanted to talk a little bit on the relationship piece. It can sometimes feel isolating if you're single and you have a lot of coupled up friends. And I have so many thoughts on this, you know, because I think, here's the thing, like similarly, I think every day you are collecting experiences that are unique to you. You are gathering a whole new life experience that is going to be part of the collective whole that makes you who you are. And you're learning lessons and you're growing and you're constantly evolving. And here's the thing, in this moment in time, what if you're not ready to meet your person? What if you meet the perfect person for you, but you haven't done the work yet? You haven't grown and had the lessons that you needed to have, and you hurt this person. Worse, you damage the opportunity, the possibility of a sustainable relationship with this person. It's like a very real possibility, right? If you think about, how you interacted with people, how you moved through life when you were a teenager, hopefully you've grown and evolved since then. And maybe if you met someone before you or the other person or both of you were ready, it wouldn't work out. But when you're both ready, that's when your paths will cross, I would much rather be with my partner now, although we disagree on this a little bit, but she always says, we would have figured it out, we would have been fine if we met when we were younger, because we always say, how nice it would have been if we had more time together, if we had met when we were, in high school or college aged. But I just feel so strongly that we constantly grow and evolve, and I don't know, there's so many dumb things I did at that age, and I don't want to have hurt her, and the fact that meeting her at a more evolved time in my life, I'm a little bit older and more mature now, and if that means I avoided hurting her in the ways that a younger, less experienced version of myself would have done if I had met her at that time, yeah, I'm so happy to skip that. I'm so happy to have the opportunity to build a healthy, sustainable relationship at this age, So, if you feel behind, I know it's hard. I know it's easier said than done. But I do not think anyone is ever behind. Truly. I truly do not think anyone is ever behind in career, in relationships, in anything else. You're just gathering experiences. You're gathering wisdom and perspective. These are such valuable things. And I think it's really important to hear that. This book is a guidebook to the dive bars of Los Angeles. My friend gave this to me when I moved out here. But what I quickly learned was Los Angeles is sprawling. So pretty much if it was not in my immediate neighborhood, I did not go. So I've been to I don't know, maybe 10% of this book. But anyway, those are just some of the thoughts I had that I wanted to share about that heavy feeling of thinking you're behind in life. And I hope that helps someone. I feel like this was very rambly. I want to post this, but I probably will try to redo this at a later time with better lighting and when I'm a little bit more awake at some point. But I hope this is comforting to someone. I hope this makes sense and resonates and is soothing to someone who watches this. You are not behind. I promise. I promise. You're exactly where you need to be. And just think, think about all of the wonderful things that you experience in your life now, anything that you're grateful for now. If you think back on the path to how you came to be in that place now, it's likely that it could have been completely different if just one thing had been different in your past. And that's why I'm such a believer that everything is the exact experience it needs to be in that moment, Okay. Once I learn how to actually edit and maybe get an app or something for that, I'll try to start making these longer too. I'm just kind of going for it right now. Maybe I'll start stitching them together. Right now I'm just kind of taking one take and seeing what comes out. So, okay. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being you. And thanks for being here.